Hello folks, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to talk about this bad boy here and why it is still kind of the best selling camera in the niche that this camera is in, and it's kind of being still the unbeatable camera out there because every creator, or at least 95 to 99% of the creators that I know and that I have met through events, own this camera. And that is probably one of the things that makes you understand how great and how cool this camera is. And all kind of YouTubers that are the biggest ones that I've seen always have one with them when they're going to events, or when they are like doing some outdoor stuff, or even use it as main camera on their YouTube studio, because you can do that. That's how beautiful the image coming out of this camera is. But let's go straight into the video. Sit down, take your cup of coffee, and relax. We're gonna have a good talk here. So the first thing is price point, right? So the price point that this camera is, it's pretty interesting because that's where you kind of find the kind of beginning mirrorless kind of cameras from Sony and Canon. So mostly like the APS-C lineup to the 1-inch kind of lineup of cameras. So kind of for vloggers, which is the niche of this camera, to beginners. And that is interesting because in that niche, I think this camera still beats many of those cameras. So in that price point, you will find the ZV-1, not the E1, but the ZV-1, Mark 1 and 2. So the Mark 1, it's maybe around the same price with just the body only, without the combo version of the DJI Pocket 3. And then the ZV-1 Mark 2 is like €100 more or less more expensive with the combo version. But this camera has way more feature that the ZV-1 has. And what I mean is that this camera can shoot up to 4K 120 in that beautiful sensor that it has, while the ZV-1 Mark II can shoot only up to 4K 30 maxed out, and then 1080p up to 100 frames per second. So that's where it makes you understand that where this kind of camera is placed, it's quite good. And what are the trade-offs? So basically the ZV-1 Mark II and the Mark 1 can be used for photography because they have this zoom kind of lens, while this camera doesn't. But this camera have just received an amazing firmware update that will allow you to shoot at 40 millimeters by basically using a kind of a optical zoom. I believe it is. It's not a digital, it's optical. So they kind of have done some coding and stuff where you will basically be able to receive two lens in one lens. Is it still kind of, the ZV-1 Mark II is still better because you can have more control in the zooming. You don't have only two. You have basically that 18 millimeters to that 15 millimeters. But then what is the trade-off there? That is a variable, right? And a variable aperture. So you're still gonna have the light bumping up and down. Is it bad? No, you can always work around that. But this has a fixed variable. So there is not gonna be, it has a fixed aperture. So it's not going to have any jump in lighting when you're doing that. Of course, it has its back. Like, it's not as great as it sounds until a certain point. You can't use it when you're using the D-Log amp, for example. You can use it only in their normal shooting mode, so you cannot have the higher dynamic range while you're using it. I hope they will fix it in the future, but at least now you don't have one lens, you have multiple lenses that you can be used, which it means that they could actually deliver even other focal length like 35 millimeters and 24 millimeters, so that you can basically just like punch in to 24, 35, or like 50. No, well, 40 will be the max out in this case, but you have 40, so maybe you don't need 35, but it will be nice to have one in the middle there. But we will talk about what is missing a little bit later. But you still have that possibility if you need to. Then the other point is vertical shooting, right? So vertical shooting with this camera, you don't need, many people just say, just turn vertically and you will get the whole 4K. And I mean, yes, but you can get 3K by just switching this monitor here. Instead of putting the monitor vertically, horizontally, you can basically just put it vertically and you can film amazing 3K up to 60 frames per second. So yeah, I don't think you really need to shoot that 4K, because between 3K and 4K, come on, there is not much difference there. And I have basically used a lot this camera. If you go on my Instagram, I have posted many reels where I'm just using this camera by shooting in 3K, because anyway, in Instagram, until they release the new firmware update, they have been talking about the maximum that you can actually post is 1080p. So well, that's be it. Soon you will receive 2K, but do you really need to post a 2K video on Instagram? Because most of us has this kind of phones and is not anyway going to reach 2K readout. So it's still pretty sharp with 1080p. So just use the feature they have gave you and don't turn your camera. It just looks weird. Come on. And then the screen, actually, the screen is a really good screen. Like, it's bright, it's nice outdoors. Maybe in some really harsh condition of light, you will need some help, but that's why you have the app if you want to. While with the other competition, and I will still refer it to the ZV-1 and the ZV-1 Mark II, because those are the direct competition, because they kind of have the same focal length and the same type of sensor. So the 1-inch sensor. I know that now Canon has the 1.4 with the PowerShot V1. So this screen is still kind of looks better than those screens there, just because those screens have such a low million dots readout. Like the PowerShot has a little bit less than 1,000 million of 1 million dots of resolution, while the PowerShot V1 has a little bit more. It has like 1.04 million dots. So it's a no-go for me. Like the S5 actually will be one that you can find used that has 1.8 million dots screen back panel, and that screen is a beautiful screen to have. So I think the S5 might be maybe your better purchase if you're looking for something in that price in the full frame line, but then you are losing the autofocus system. You're going to be based on the contrast base, so that will be kind of a trade-off that you need to think about. But then in the APS-C frame, you can find for around the same price, or like 200 euros more, stuff like that. You can find a lot of APS-Cs, but none of them will give you 4K 120, which it's a bummer. No, it's not, but you have to take in consideration many things in this kind of things. This camera gives you 4K up to 120 or 100 frames per second, while many other cameras in that price range do not. And just think about the size, okay? The size that this beast has, okay? Because that's the thing that I think we have to really understand, that this camera is so tiny and so portable, because you can just grab it like this, and it's so fast to shoot with. And the ease of use, that's one thing that we really need to, think about. And then the stabilization, right? So this one has a mechanical stabilization, while the others, all of them have electronic stabilization. The one that you will maybe find even closer to this is the S5, original S5, that the price in the secondhand market is quite close to it, or the S9. Those are the only two cameras that can give you IBIS internally and will be able to match the smoothness of this camera. But the S5 comes without a good AF, and the S9 comes at a little bit higher price with body only, and if you want the lens to it, it's basically double the price of this. So trade-offs. Trade-offs. And Bluetooth capabilities. So this camera will allow you, by using the ecosystem of the DJI ecosystem, the Bluetooth basically microphones. So this will allow you up to 2 Bluetooth microphones. So that will make it super amazing, because you can have one microphone on you and one microphone on someone else if you're doing like a podcasting or stuff, because this camera can be used for podcasting or for streaming or for whatever you want to do. So that is really amazing. It will allow you to control the mic directly from the device itself, or control the device from the mic itself. So by clicking, basically, whoop, everything is falling. So you can basically click the linking button here to basically trigger record into the DJI Pocket, right? So if you are maybe far from it, you can just trigger record straight from the mic, or you can trigger record to record the mic into the mic from the device itself, so from the DJI. So it's quite cool that they have done this kind of compatibility, and quite cool the features they have been doing, so that you can the ease of use that you can have, because you never know in which situation you're going to be, or where you are actually going to put your camera in, and you will still be able to trigger it from on board, from yourself, from where you are standing. And that's really, really good. And none of the other cameras out there can offer you this. You will always need to purchase something more to be able to have a good sound, because we know for how good they have improved the sound internally, you will still not be able to have a good sound, like a really proper good sound internally, and you will need to purchase something externally and attach it to all the hot shoe, or to the microphone jack, to be able to then have proper sound on you when you are further from the camera. So that's something that you should be keeping in consideration. Overheating, it has never overheated on me until now, but I live in Finland, which is kind of a bit of a colder country, at least for the majority part of the year. Now we are finally switching to a little bit more of a better weather, on the springy, nice weather. So bless God to that. But yeah, it has never overheated on me up to now, and I have been using it a ton for many things. So that's be it. And it has a good low light capability. Not only has like a low light setting on it, so you can just switch it to all low light, and then you will just go record, and that it's kind of a cool thing. But even in the standard, if you just leave it in the 4K 24, in the video format, like the video, because this has low, to go to low light, you need to go and select it, and it has another part when it calls the video format, right? So if you just leave it there, not in the low light format, but just in the normal format, it's still gonna give you a good low light capability. You just need to just work a little bit on your settings there. and not maybe leave it in automatic. But that's how I do it. Just because I don't know, sometimes the low light function seems a bit too mushy for me, but that's me. Maybe it's user error, I don't know, but that's how it works better for me. Now let's talk about what is lacking, because there are a couple of things that is lacking that I hope they will bring to us in the future firmware update. So the first one is like more in-depth adjustment. I have done already a video about this, but it will be nice if we can receive like a tint slide, just to fix maybe some little color rendition or skin color rendition issues that sometimes you tend to have. Like on the black skin, it might tone a bit too much into the purple, so to kind of have a little bit greenish tint. And I don't really want to tune the whole white balance because then it would just like destroy my whole scene and stuff like that. But it will still not fix completely the tint shift and stuff like that issue. So that would be super cool to receive. It would be super cool to have a real-time LUT like Lumix does, like to be able to just like import, you know, your own LUT into the system and not be always relying on just the LUT that they will provide to you. Just because I tend to not even like it, because I feel like it's too contrasty and saturated for me. So I always in post have to tune down the contrast and the saturation. So yeah, but it would be cool if they would just allow us to just like even baked in immediately with your own LUT and not have to rely on their LUT to monitor stuff like that. And at the same time, it will be super cool if they allow you to bake in the LUT to multiple files at the same time and not to one by one. Yeah, so that would be super cool firmware update to receive. And then the last but not the least, a good first party case to make it even more portable. So as for now, I had to basically customize my whole case. So it comes in with this full body cover case, but I don't like it just because it leaves the whole back open, and often I put it in a bag. I will go back to it and the whole gimbal thing is out of the case and dangling around, which it can break. So I had to do a lot of research and I found this case here, and everything that you want, it will be down in the link. It's an affiliate link, so it will just support me if you want to. And I found this that will kind of cover the gimbal, and it will protect the screen from being scratched when it's like, you know, put away. So that's really cool. And then I have a video on this Telesin cage here, which it was sent to me for review. I will leave the link maybe at the end of this video so you can go see it. And how it works for me is that I just put the DJI Mic here. I put it on it because it has two cold shoes here that you can use, and then it has amazing two ports here and one here that you can basically use it to, you know, hang on, you know, the action gears that we have. And then down here I have a KNF concept, basically base plate here, and it's really good because it gives me USB-C control here, so that because I put it down here, you have the USB-C here. So with this you can basically continue connecting the USB-C. It just extended out. And then it's really great because it has basically a mounting point here. Then it has this amazing mechanism here, which you know, like the action thingy here, they will basically come out, and they have like, they are like magnet. See, they are like magnetized to the base. And then the base itself has basically, you can see it here, The base itself have basically NATO rail, so this can be mounted on tripods or anything where you have kind of a NATO rail mounting system, and it's quite cool. And the tripod here, it can be mounted still on the base, so like this base extends so much what you can do. So if like DJI will kind of create like a full body cage like this, it will be super cool, because in that case they can even include the filters, because now I don't have any space to put the filters, right? To carry these filters with me in one package, so I have to always bring another little case. It's not bad or anything, but it will be nice that I will be able to do it immediately from the device itself. But hey, this video ended up being so long, but wanted to thank you guys. Thank you for the support, and much love to you all. It has been really great to be here. I took a little bit time off because my kids have been sick, I've been sick, and I think it's good sometimes to even take off, because there is nothing for me to even post on YouTube. There is no creativity in the moment. Like, I didn't feel anything, I didn't feel any urge. But sometimes I need to continue posting, if not my time is going to go down. So that's why I'm posting today, even though if the creativity level on this moment is like, but I need to keep YouTube running, and I can do that thanks to you. So thank you a lot again for the help, the support, and everything. Much love. Take good care of yourself mentally, physically, and yeah, I'm gonna see you in the next one.